I'm going to feel much better coming in here tomorrow and seeing this beginning to take shape.
3 and 4, and now 5 and 6 are supposed to go. Now this little curve right here, I'm getting a bit of a puckering. Hi, welcome back. This is Dawn at the Lake, and what we do here on this channel is we move the needle on creativity. We have a lot going on at all times. There's several projects in the works, of course. Just like you, I've got whips. I list those in the description, so if you want to know what could be happening in the future, go take a look at the projects that I list out as our works in progress. What we're working on today, though, is a koi fish. I am working on making a mug rug for my son. Can you see what that is? There, that's better, right? I'm making a mug rug that's going to be about this size, so it's basically a small placemat. He's working on building a koi pond for me at this house. He's been here for 4 months now, and he's going to be here until he finishes it, and then he goes home to California. It's just something he wanted to do in between jobs. He left a good job at Apple after he finished the project that he was working on there. You may have seen, you've probably seen, if you follow Apple at all, the pair of glasses that they put out, they're called Vision Pro. He worked on that project, and then whenever it released, he left so that he could help me with my surgeries. He went back to California, and then I needed to have one more surgery. So he decided to just wait until after I was, stable. And I'm still working on being stable, but I think I'm pretty stable at the moment. While he was here, he decided he would dig in literally making a koi pond. Well, his birthday is tomorrow, so I decided I would make something for him. He is not materialistic at all, so I couldn't really buy anything for him. Since he's building this giant koi pond in the backyard, and he's been working doggedly at it for weeks and weeks and weeks now, what better thing to put on his mug rug but this, a koi fish. So we made our pattern, and where I left off with you guys was I needed to do a fabric pull. I did that, and I made a little short about it. I picked out several fabrics that could work, and then I found this one that I'm really in love with. And I want to show you that one. I almost feel like I could almost can most of the others and just use different parts of this one. Doesn't that look like it's, a bunch of koi fish or something? That's just fabulous. This is I guess that would have been, what would that have been? A quarter of a yard. That looks like it's about 9 inches. Is that 9 inches? Yeah, 9 inches. And this is probably before they were doing a lot of fat quarters. I used some of it for something. Isn't that just beautiful? I think we could probably pull a lot of our koi pieces from this. I'm doing it by foundation paper piecing, so you get to kind of cherry pick your fabric for the individual spots. We'll see how well I can do with this. I did go back and watch a couple of the foundation paper piecing videos that I had created, I think in May it was. I don't go back and watch hardly any at all. So I was nervous about going back and watching that. And then when I was watching, I thought, no, I could have learned from this. It was helpful to me to go back and watch it. I feel like I have a better understanding now because that was my first time doing it. So it's not like I've got any muscle memory built up. Something else I want to show you that I had in my scrap pile. So these are also from the 90s. This is a pack of dyed fabrics. Let me open this up so we can see what this one looks like. Because in that last video, I was trying to figure out what am I going to do for the background, for the water. I don't want to make it blue. That just, it's not a pool. It's a natural body, well, kind of natural. It needs to reflect that it's a natural body of water, which is more in the greens and blacks. And would you look at that? Doesn't that look like it could be a pond water right there? So imagine putting foundation paper piece koi in the middle of all that. I think I'm pretty happy with that as our background. I don't know what else is in here. We're not even going to dig into it. Oh, look at this one is pretty too. Look at that. Let me show you the individual ones. While I'm doing this, I'm going to tell you guys a couple of different things. As I came into the studio, I fixed myself my hot electrolyte drink, and I thought I would tell you guys about it. This is not sponsored. This is just something I thought about telling you guys. If you are somebody who likes to drink or needs to drink a lot of electrolytes, like I do, you might enjoy these too. It's a hot option. I'm typically drinking my electrolytes and they're fruit flavored, and sometimes you just get tired of a fruit flavored drink and or a tea or something. And so this is lovely. I can't do a hot chocolate because it's always made with coconut oil and I can't have coconut oil. So can you see the steam rising from that? I don't see it showing up in the display, but I can see it here. Anyway, this is delicious. This is really good. So if you know of somebody who drinks a lot of electrolytes and they want a hot drink, when I first saw this, I thought I don't see how that's going to taste good. Something salty, that's hot. But let me tell you, it's very good, very very good. I don't have an affiliation with them whatsoever. Maybe I should. Maybe I should reach out or something. I'm not quite sure how to handle all of that part of YouTube yet. And I will be creating an Amazon. I'm going to show you all these. Don't worry. Just getting them separated. I will be creating up an Amazon store at some point so that whenever I think of things to tell you about that I really enjoy and y'all think about telling it to you guys so that you have the opportunity to have a review of it before you purchase it, just in case it comes in handy. I will be doing that. I did create a store this past weekend. I mentioned that in the previous video, and I'm really kind of proud of it. I put a few different designs up, I think 6 different designs, and I put those designs on a variety of different products. Okay, so this is the one that we were talking about possibly being, oh, no, there's 2 there. Sorry. Okay, this could be, sections of this could be our water in the pond. Isn't that lovely? Okay. And, or maybe this one is. So these are clearly quarter yard pieces. Isn't that pretty? I think because of how these were cut, it's a pretty clear sign they're from the 90s, right? When did fat quarters come out? I'm sure some of you know. Really pretty. It's they almost have a feel like a batik. This wouldn't be a batik, would it? Is this a batik when it's dyed like this? I don't know. I've got a lot to learn. See, that could be your background water scene right there, right? Oh, how pretty is that? So we're going to have to get our fish done, and then we'll match it up to these individual panels and see which one looks good. This would not be a good one. It's got the rainbow in it. Do you hear a kitten in the background? She's meowing. I don't own a kitten, but we had a kitten turn up who's probably a little under 6 months. She just turned up and she would not leave for anything. So I fed her, and then my son was gone at the time. And when he came home, there was just no talking to him about doing anything like trying to find another home. He's claimed her. We had her fixed 3 days ago. She's doing beautifully. I'm allergic to cats, so she's not allowed to be in the house, but she's in the house. She's in a crate right now, and because we've been keeping her in the garage, but he needs to, while he's working on the pond, he needs to have access to and from the garage. And poor dear, she's been fine until I came into the studio, and now she's meowing. I feel so sorry for her. She's a sweet baby. These are all beautiful, aren't they? I promise you, we're going to get to our project. This is our last one. These are all really pretty. So I think I need to look up the definition of batik and see if these fall into the category of batik. I was just thinking it's just dyed, like hand dyed. But I think, I'm new to all this, just diving into everything head first. So I just need to take time as I do to backtrack and look things up and try to learn from it. I just don't have I just don't have a working acumen on all of the definitions. There's just so many different terminologies. I hear everybody just spout off like they know what it is. And it's like, how do you learn this? Well, says one of the ways you learn is whenever you have a question about whether or not this could be batik or not, or if it's just simply referred to as a dyed fabric, you look it up. So I will be looking that up, and I'll either mention it in this video if I get a chance to do it before we get done, or I'll put it on the screen so that as I'm learning, you're learning too. That's the objective here. So what did I pay for this? So that whole pack, see if that shows up. This is the package that was on, don't ignore that. That's on the package. That's on this. We want to ignore that. What we're looking at is this. It was sold as 6 ounces, $10.75 for this entire group, all those fat quarters. Well, no, I'm sorry, all those quarter yard strips is what they were. Now, one more piece of business before we get down to getting creative here. I did get my shop up. There is a 25% off right now. So if you have any quilters and you're on your gift list who you want to give something quilt related to, there are a variety of things up. There's backpacks. There's a laptop. Laptop backpack. There's aprons. There's coffee mugs. There's caps and shirts and hoodies and zip ups and a lot of things. If you see a design and it's not offered currently and one of the products that you want, zip me an email and I'll just go in there and I'll assign the two, this design with this product, and then it'll make it available so you can choose that. So if you say, well, Dawn, I really like the Victorian lady who's just really put out because her bobbin ran out. I really like that one, but I wanted it on the lunch bag, or whatever. Then I'll go in and I'll make that assignment for you and then you can have it. But think about everybody on your shopping list for Christmas, because this sale goes on through the end of the 22nd, so like the 11:59 p.m. And I think that's a good time to make a purchase, right? 25% off, that's a good deal. I ordered, this is the last piece of this business, I ordered a few different things for myself so I can show those to you and so I can have some personal experience about how these products feel and, the delivery service and working with the company. And the store platform is called Spreadshirt or Spreadshop. And so far, I'm really very pleased with them. I also purchased 2 different things that I will be doing as a giveaway to you all. I haven't figured out all the details of that, so this is not an official announcement. I want to make sure I understand all the rules with YouTube, and then I need to research and find out what are the what are the loopholes and what are the potholes that happen for people who are doing giveaways on YouTube. Like, I don't want to put any of you guys in a situation where you get spammed, and I don't want to make myself vulnerable by doing something wrong either. So I need to do some research on that. Hopefully by the time the pieces come in, then we can look at those and we can talk about what that giveaway is. But sitting here right now, I just don't know. Let's get creative. It's time. Enough talking, right? As soon as I got this finished, I knew I needed to break this into individual patterns, like this section, and it's this section. So this is where I got to whenever I got my seam allowances put on one of them. So I'm just going to zip through that really quickly, get these other seam allowances on. I don't know if I should need to make this more obvious, like maybe put this in ink. Probably wouldn't hurt. Just that this outside area here is what my seam allowance is. And that's clearly a little more than 1/4 inch. Something you may notice about my pattern is that this is foundation paper piece without a lot of straight lines, very little straight lines. In fact, I don't know that there are any straight lines, maybe a couple. Right here's a straight line. one straight line in all this. So that's going to add to the complexity of the project. But I'm not going to let it hang me up, because what do we do here? We move the needle. We don't get intimidated by the bigger project. We just set out to do the next thing, and we see what happens then, and then we do the next thing. So my lettering that I have here, I have 1 and 2 and 3. That's showing the order that I'm going to apply these. This is foundation paper piecing. Sorry. This is freezer paper, by the way, so that I can temporarily, using a temporary adhesive of the paper to get my fabric to adhere to the pattern. And then I don't have glue to worry with or anything like that. Okay, so what I have here in the O is orange, and what I have here in the W is white, and the B is black. And what else do I have? I have yellow. So down here I have the Y is yellow. So I'm going to take you off camera for a second, and I'm going to put my seam allowances on here, darken everything in. There's no need for you to watch me do that. One last thing to say before I get you off camera. I just want to say thank you to everybody who is subscribed, whether you're a brand new subscriber or you've been with me for a few months. This has been an incredible year starting this YouTube channel and trying to grow it, while I have had all the diversions I've had, which has been a lot this year, between traveling for surgery and liquidating the duplex and stuff like that. And the shingles and getting a new puppy and, having a house guest and the garden pond coming in to the picture too. It's just been a lot. Things that I did not plan for. So it's doing that while growing a brand new business. It's just been kind of an amazing year. So many blessings in it. It's just been kind of phenomenal. At times, fairly overwhelming. You feel like, gosh, am I making headway? Am I just treading water, or am I drowning? Or is my head bobbing above the surface of the water? It's typical for any major endeavor. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who is supporting me by watching and commenting and sharing and all that kind of thing. And, just want you to know how much it really means to me. It really does. Okay, so I feel good about that. One of the things I love about doing these smaller projects, kind of like the sleep sack that we did in the last couple of months, we did the playlist for Baby and Me. I really enjoyed that because I got to learn a lot of different things. I got to experiment with a variety of techniques, and it was just a real creative pursuit. And this is giving me that same opportunity in something that I've been wanting to do. I don't know for how long, quite a while, I've had like a fascination with the beauty of koi fish. I don't know why that is. I just kind of love they just seem artful to me. Like they just seem kind of majestic, and they're nothing but a carp. It's just a fish. They're cold water fish, and that's not a big deal, right? But they're just beautiful. But because they are so varied in their appearance and they have so many colors on them, it's going to be hard to do this wrong. That's kind of how I feel about it. It's going to be hard to do this wrong. I did pick out some other fabrics whenever I was doing my fabric pull, but I just don't think any of them are going to work as well as the one I showed you. Hang on, let me show you. Well, I did a short, so if you want to see the other ones I came up with, and I probably will show you a couple of them here because my objective was for this to be kind of a white fish with color on it. So we need to make sure that I'm thoughtful about that. And then the other thing I wanted to make sure is that I could create some depths with my color placement. I could put some shadows in and some highlights in to create my depths. Because like on this is the fish head. You can't really tell it, but it's a fish head. You know, and your eyes are up here. Actually, I guess kind of the head is here and the eyes are here. And this is kind of the snout, the nose. Well, it tapers this way, and then it tapers from this top down. So shading is going to be kind of necessary, and I can accomplish that with color choices of my fabric, or I could use some ink tints. I was watching the collage quilter, Emily. I don't know what her last name is, but she's in Utah, and she has a channel she's doing with at least one of her daughters. I don't know if she's got more than one daughter in that business or not. I can't recall. But I know at least one has an art degree too, and they're just delightful people, so I enjoy watching them. So when I was watching her this morning, Emily, at the Collage Quilter YouTube channel, it was one that she had done a year ago. It just popped up. I guess sometimes YouTube can read your mind. So I was wondering if I could use ink tints for some of my shading. And I worried about that since this is going to be basically a coaster, right? It's going to have a lot of moisture on it. And I thought, well, I don't know how well that would work. Is the ink going to run? But she swears that if you use your ink tints and then set it properly, and she was talking about how careful you've got to be about setting it properly, like the ink has to be very well saturated so that the fibers are absorbing it thoroughly. And then you, and just cheat a little bit, just hand did that. And then if you heat set it, then you're golden. That ink's not going anywhere. It's just as good as if it came off of when the yardage was created in the first place. So I might rely on doing a little bit of ink tints. I'd like to. I want to get comfortable using ink tints. One day I want to get to where I'm doing a large collage piece. So I'm going to be training myself to paint with collage, with fibers. And there's several little projects I want to do, but I'm not there yet. And I've got some works in progress that I swear I will finish. I will not leave them as works in progress so that I have a backlog that intimidates me or makes me feel like I'm a failure. You know, I don't want that kind of hanging over me. And I like finished projects. Just letting you guys know that I really love seeing collage pieces. Like, I know I want to do a simple collage, what I consider simple by looking at other people's work. Anyway, I know it would be difficult for me as a starter project, but I want to do my last dog, Zoe. She was very, very, very special to me. She just passed in April. And I definitely want to do a collage of her face. So that'd be a good starter place. But first after we get done with this, we're gonna work on the Mars quilt. Get the Mars quilt done, get the unicorn quilt done, get the pick a petal done. Okay, I can cut all these out now. And then I think at that point, I'll be set to start experimenting with something else. And that's why I'm not doing any more blocks of the month. You know, I do have the piece and quilt sampler that Fat Quarter Shop was doing with Susan Aki. And I want to finish that because that's a gift for a friend who helped me out for my surgery, one of my surgeries. And then I have Motor Block Heads 5, a quilt that I was doing with Motor Block Heads, their project for 2024. I want to finish that quilt and get that to a friend. That one won't take that much work to finish the top. The piece and quilt one will. So I'm just gonna have to be aware that there's just no way I can be in a rush to get any of this stuff done. Life is what it is, and it's good that I'm working on it. And as long as I keep those working, progressively, I'll feel fine about it. I feel like I need to label that, like say what it is. Let's say koi. Let's call it a snout. I know it's not a snout. It's probably got a more official name, anatomical name, but I'm gonna know what it is if I call it a snout. Oh, I'm so looking forward to getting some fabric put on this. Somebody suggested that I could do this koi. It was in the comments of the last video. Somebody suggested that I could do it with collage, and I considered that as an option, but the same idea came to mind about that as what was coming to mind about the ink tints. This is going to be getting a lot of moisture, and it's going to be getting dirtier than most of our projects typically do. It's going to be washed a lot, and I wouldn't want the raw edges of the applique pieces to start fraying. I just don't think that would be as ideal for this particular project. But I do like collage, and I will be doing more of it. Anyway, that person mentioned Laura Hine or Heine. I don't know how it's pronounced. And I've looked her up. She's done some beautiful work. And then on the quilt show today, Alex Anderson was showing a quilt, a collage quilt. She says it was the only one she got to see at the Houston Festival. And it was from this man that, I think it was a man. I think I remember correctly that it was a man in Nigeria who did it. And it's just this very bold and big and beautiful collage. The colors are bold, and just the use of the fabrics were just awesome. And they're just scraps. Like he goes foraging in his environment, like through garbage cans even, to find these scrap pieces, and then uses them. And so it's just a very green thing that he's doing. It's just fun. And that's kind of what I'm enjoying here, is like I'm going through my scraps from the 90s and seeing what I can do with them. Every bit of that sleep sack was made with just scraps. It was just, well, I think I told you I had to buy the Iowa fabric and something else. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. Where are we going to want to start? I think I want to start with the body. Koi, let's name this Koi body. This is our koi head. Koi head. All right. Yeah, I think I promised to show you these other fabrics. So I want to start with the body. I don't know why, I just do. And this is the one that I'm thinking I can get most everything I need from it. Like where I need orange, pull it from here. Where I need white, let me show you what I have for that. This, I think, is my white. It is clearly not just white. It is gray with darker gray tones to it, or splotches with it. And it seems like that would be more like what a fish would look like, but they get pretty white. They get pretty white. I also have, I pressed all these yesterday because some of them came from underneath the pile that was inside the diaper box. I know that could look like it's almost a leopard print, or not a leopard, like an animal print, but it's, what is that art technique when you just, when you draw with just making strokes like that? I can't think of what that's called, but is it pointillism? I'm not sure. I've got some grays for my black. I think that's good to use. See, I could make my fish, even though this looks like rock, like stone, If you're just taking sections of it, it could look like, you know, scales. So I've got to make the decision if I'm using any of these along with that as my main one, or see, that could work, couldn't it? The colors would look fine together. Oh, this is the back side. There, front side. Because it, you know, you don't want to put anything, like you could use all fabrics that are like fun and funky, that are childlike or elegant, you know, just a continuity between your styling of your surface designs. Or you can go with something that doesn't have any design on it. This clearly has a design, like you've got a flower right here. But if you just use a little piece of it right here, you really wouldn't pay attention to the fact that it's got some resemblance of a flower there. So I'm going to keep this one, you know, these yellows pop against those yellows. So I'm going to keep this as an option. Don't know about, this is the same fabric, but it's not, this is the same fabric. And it's a nice orange, but I wouldn't want to use a big piece of it, but just maybe a little piece of it. I don't know. I still feel like maybe I need a pure white. I like that this has a white background. I have some white, so let me pull out some whites and take a look at that. And then let's look at our placement. So on our body, this piece was white. And this one was, the first one is orange. This is white. This is black. And this is yellow, yellow, and orange. So if I pick an orange, there's an orange right here on the end. So if I wanted to put an orange right there, I could do that, not a problem. Let's look up some whites and see what some whites look like. This is a little scrap of white that I had left over from a quilt I made for my grandbaby before she was even born. It was didn't know if she was a boy or a girl, so it was a very generic brown and white half square triangle quilt. So I have a lot of these white pieces left over. So I could do that. It's got a little vine print on it. That's not real obvious, but it kind of gives it a little bit of the light kind of bounces off of it a little bit differently, and that might be nice. I think I like that better than this. Just don't like the gray undertones of this. I really thought I was going to love that. But I think, because of these koi, I'm telling you, they're so pretty. Look, you see all that? Look, that one's all white. That may be a painting. I don't know. Looks like a photograph. But look, all that white and yellow, white. This white has a lot of yellow in it too. So the colors just blend and blur. They're really pretty. Look at all the black on that one. That one looks like an ink spot, like a bottle of ink got spilled on it. So yeah, I think it's best to go with the all white and not with the gray. I think that's good. That one's got some gray on it. Like I said, these guys are nothing but carp, but I don't want it to look like it's just a carp fish that I put on this, which is fine. If, you know, you like your carp, you like your carp. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to cut out a little bit of this orange right here, which is pretty yellow. This is orange. Let's do that as orange. I'm going to cut that out and then use this white to go here. Yeah. Okay, so I just need a big enough piece. These are not my fabric cutting scissors. Here we go. This waxy back to this is going to temporarily adhere to this fabric. How do I want to do this? I want to Oh, I like both sides of that. This fabric, because it's dyed, there's not really a front or a back. You may kind of feel the texture of it to feel what side feels a little bit smoother than the other and kind of call that your front. I'm not discerning one side being softer than the other. It's not detectable. Okay, but if this was really clearly, if this fabric was a clear front or back, you would put the back to this, because what you're getting, oh, I totally forgot about this. Rats. Totally forgot to reverse my image. What's going to happen, because I did not do that, I could stop right now and do it if it really mattered, but my fish is going to be going this way and on the finished mug rug. I think it's fine. I also think that if I don't like it, this is going to go together quickly enough. I can just redo it. Okay. But I'm going to move this video along, so we're going to make it how it is. But keep that in mind. Everything's in reverse because this is the back of my piece. Okay. I'm going to press that really quickly. And I'm going to make sure that as I press it, that I'm capturing where some of the other color comes into play, because that's part of the koi, right? But I got to make sure I cover all of the seam allowance and that. Yeah, my iron is hot, so I'm going to go press that really quickly. My big iron is what was hot, and I used it, but I prefer to use my craft iron, so I've got it heating up for the next one. Okay, so my white gets added onto it next, so I got to turn this back on that line, not beside the line, but on it. I just trimmed my nails, which was a bad time to do that. It's hard to get that pressed back as well as when I do have nails. Okay. Right, so I want to have a 1/4 inch off that. Okay, this is a straight seam that we're going to be making. So now we go right sides to right sides. I do that so that whenever I fold it back, is it long enough to cover all of that? It looks like it will be. Yeah, so how I did that previously in my other videos is I just looked at when I add this laying on top of the fabric that I'm about to sew onto it, I looked at my lines, the lines that I need for that piece of fabric to cover, and it's all being covered there, so I'm fine. So I'm going to go and sew that. Be right back. This piece over here is going to be next. So what I need to do is I need to crease on a little bit of a curve there, and that's going to be funky. Funky, funky, funky. I've not seen anybody else do a foundation paper piecing with some curved edges, so I might be making a colossal mistake expecting that I can. I'm just borrowing a lot of trouble that I don't need, but I'm doing it anyway. By golly. Okay, so that goes like that. Nope. 1/4 inch on. Okay. getting that out of the way. Okay, this one's supposed to be black. There is black in here. Do I want to do that? I think I do want, this black is blacker than this black. So I'm going to use this black. I'm getting excited to see it come together, and all I've done is put one seam together. I think that's why I like that one design that I was telling you about, the really dejected Victorian woman that I put on a bunch of different products, because we as quilters are so optimistic. Like I'm getting so excited to see this whole thing come together, and all I've got is one seam put together. And that, to me, is what is depicted in that design, because she's just like the rest of us. She sat down to quilt, and she was certain she could get through her entire quilt with a bobbin that was almost empty. You know, we're just so optimistic. We think, oh, I can do that. I can do that. Okay, let's cut out a piece of black. And like everything else, maybe it shouldn't be just black. Maybe it should be black with some of these other colors blending. I think so. Let's do that. Or that way. Do I want, this is white on this end. Yeah, let's have black on here and pick up some of these colors over here. I think that's good. I'm going to worry about cutting that. I'm going to cut it this way. Okay. I'm going to go press. Oh, where'd it go? There it is. Going to go press that to here just so it stays in place. And then create my 1/4 inch line on that. Yes, so let's do that. I think what I need to do is use my pencil. So I want to make sure I remember I'm estimating my 1/4 inch. But I need to make sure I stitch in a curved line. So that's what I'm doing. Okay. And I don't need to stitch beyond it because I want to not lock down my seam allowances. Since I've got some curved pieces and stuff, I don't want to do that. Again, I could do either side, but it's right sides to right sides. If I kind of like a little bit of blue in there, but no, I'm going to go with this. Okay. Make sure I have enough room there. How do I do this? This may be the tricky part. Okay, so if I stitch that right there, and I fold that back right there, see how it's going to go that way? I've got to figure out, I probably need to cut a bigger piece. How long does it have to be? This is always the tricky part of foundation paper piecing, making sure the piece that you put on is big enough without wasting fabric. Okay, so I think I need to make sure I cut this big. Okay, so if I have this like that, this is what it is. It's because I'm looking at this fabric from the front, but expecting it to go in a different direction than what it will do once I reverse it. That's what my hang up is. Okay, if I do that, this is my right size. It's clearly darker. Yeah, if I do that, it'll flip over and I'll get the black there. Okay, so that's what I need to do. Okay, so my stitching lines go from there to there. I've just kind of used my pencil since it's curved here. You're not going to be able to tell. Okay, that helped to draw my line. Instead of actually just using the paper as my guide, I just drew a line. Okay, see if I got what I think I was going to get. Yes, this whole thing is covered. Yes, it's going to be nice because I'm going to have black here and it's going to fade to these different colors. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to go press this so that sticks together. And then I'm going to do my fourth piece, which is yellow. And I have another, like I could use something like this for my yellow. We'll look at that in just a minute. Let me get this done. Let me get this pressed. Okay. So that's done. I'm going to, my son, I think, is coming inside. So I'm going to have to stop what I'm doing and wait until he's either back outside or leaves again. So this is a curved line that's going to go this way, and then this way. So curving in, out, and in. How do I depict that? And I need to pick, let's pick out our yellow. Just move the needle on the easy question, the easy thing. That would work. That yellow with the dot, that would look fine, I think. What I don't like about this dyed fabric is that it just seems kind of dusty as in color tone, muted. So I do like picking out some vibrancy here with that. And then I also have that yellow that was from my stash that we talked about using. How big is this piece? This next piece? It's kind of long. I have to give a caveat that some of this fabric could possibly be more contemporary than the 90s because I've gotten from my daughter my original stash, but she may have added to the stash over time. I'm sure she has added some. I don't recognize this fabric at all, is the reason I say that. So this may have been something that she worked on, some project. I don't know. Okay, so what I like about this is that it's an orange yellow. This, not so much. I don't like that surface design. What did I tell you guys from the beginning? I can't do this wrong, so I don't need to overthink it. I think it's going to be hard to do a piece that long. It's not going to also include this bigger flower, which I don't like, unless I do it all on the diagonal, put it on a bias. It's just not going to matter as far as stretch for this, but I think I'm going to use this one. It's just some Walmart fabric. Oh, good. I'm glad. Chris is not coming in. He's back out there working. Not that I enjoy my son. I'm just saying that I want to work on this, and I can't do that if he's in here. My TV is like right there. So if he's in here, he's got something up on the TV that he's watching. And whether it's YouTube or something, and I can't do this and be quiet. Okay. One of the people that I have watched over this past year who's kind of been an encouragement is Dave from Dave's Crafts Room. I keep on reiterating something I heard him say once upon a time, and that was, it's just fabric and thread. And he's not afraid of, I forgot how he put it, but like, I'm not afraid of any stinking fabric or, silly fabric or something along those lines. And it's like, it's just fabric and thread. It's not, bigger than I am. So what I think about is I think about it in the terms of I'm the one with the brain and the opposable thumbs. It's funny, I would say that as I'm using my opposable thumbs against each other here. So I can figure this out. There's no need for me to be afraid of the machine, the needle, the thread, the fabric. The only thing to be afraid of is wasting money. If you waste fabric or thread that you need to then replace, but that's not the biggest calamity in the world. Okay, so I am going to draw. I don't know how else to do this well since it's not just a straight edge. I think drawing is good. Good way to handle this. Let's see if it shows up very well right there in that dark. That's not wanting to show up too well. I'm going to slice that so it will fold back. Slice it again. So yeah, it kind of gives me my curve now. That way, this way. Okay. Gonna put this on here, right sides to right sides. Okay, it needs to go from here to there. I don't think I cut it wide enough. How did I make that mistake? So I'm going to go on the diagonal for this. Yep. Okay, that's good. Okay, it is stitched. I'm going to cut away let me just make sure that everything will be kosher once I flip that over. Covers everything. Okay, so I'm going to just hand cut my seam allowance instead of using the rotary or anything like that. There. Okay. Now, yay. Okay. Press my seam. And I'm going to go to the pressing mat and use heat on that. Now, this little curve right here was a little tight. I'm getting a bit of a puckering, but if you'll look, there's not much space there. I think once I trim this away, I think it'll be fine once it all gets done. So I'm going to shape this up to match my pattern. I'm going to go press this together a little bit better. Okay. All right, next is we put number 5, which is our yellow. I think I'm going to cheat here. I'm going to put 5 and 6 together and then put it on as one unit onto 3. Or cheat even further. Like it's supposed to be yellow and orange. I don't think I need green. Do they have green? Do koi have green splotches on them? I don't know. Let's look real quick. It's the reason we have the internet. Not only do we have opposable thumbs, but we have the internet. I don't see green on them at all. I don't see any green. No green. So I need to make sure that as I'm capturing pieces of this fabric, I'm not really getting any of the green. Well, I did get interrupted. Chris did come inside. He just wasn't feeling up to working. He was feeling fatigue, ill, I'm not quite sure. And then it rained, and so he was in for good. And it is not just the next day, it is the next evening. Today is his actual birthday, and so he just kind of took the day off from the pond, and he stayed on the couch all day. And of course, the couch is about 10 feet from me to my right over here. And there's no way I can be on camera while he's either on his computer or watching TV. It just isn't going to work. For him or for me, it's just not going to work. So I'm just not getting back to things. But I've been thinking about it all day. I have an option of doing foundation paper piecing, since I told you, I'm doing curved. And what I did previously, which you just watched me do in this video, is I kind of drew my line and then I tried to sew on that line. Well, I like the type of foundation paper piecing where you fold back and you stitch against, your drawn line. And then you can fold your paper back and you don't have to then later pull your paper off. I like that a lot. And this freezer paper works out really nicely for that. You're going to hear the dogs in the background. They have been indoors, except for walks. They have been indoors for a while because I can't let them out in the backyard, like for weeks now, maybe 2 weeks now. So they get a little restless. So I'm just going to let them use up some of their energy and let them just kind of play. Plus, one of them is, 19 weeks old yesterday. So there's a lot of energy in these two little ones. So hopefully you can still hear me. So I'm going to continue to work around my obstacles. We're going to push forward. And I'm going to go ahead and do this the traditional way. I'm going to stitch on my lines. Since I have some funky lines, and it's kind of important, not so much these internal lines as long as my external pieces of this pattern, the overall thing that I piece together, I can get the right shape, and then the 3 different patterns will blend together. That's fine, but I just think it's probably good if I go ahead and stitch on my paper. I don't like doing that to my needle. It just means I got to change out my needle more quickly, and the thrifty person in me just doesn't like doing that. Okay, so we've done what is it? 1, 2, 3, and 4, and now 5 and 6 are supposed to go here, right? Like on this area right here. But instead of doing 2 separate ones, I think I'm going to handle this back 2 pieces as just one piece of fabric, since we have this fabric that's got multiple colors in it, right? And that's going to play nicely, maybe, with what's on here. So it's going to be a line that curves right here, and your coloring of this fish, the body of the fish, is going to change from this to whatever goes here. What I have marked on my pattern is yellow and orange. So I need to find something that really contrasts with that a lot. Something I might consider doing here is I might just put yellow there instead of one piece that goes in this area back here that is from the same fabric that blends the colors. Might not have enough contrast with this. This would have contrast, and I think that might look nice. But then if I do that, do I still want to do it as one, these 2 as one piece, this whole section here? I don't know. I'm having some heartburn about it. I feel like I'm just kind of getting lazy and cheaping out on my efforts just because had so many interruptions with this between the dogs and Chris coming back in and not getting to work on it today. So something else I could do. How would it look if we put a little piece of this right there? See if I can do this. I don't know. This just still looks more like an animal print than belongs on a fish. So I think this might be our best bet. You get repetition of coloring on your fish, right? Like that's what you do. You get repetition of coloring. That's why they're so pretty. Let's just use this one, and I'm going to use this one fabric for these 2, for this whole section here. Okay, so I need to cut a piece big enough. I'm going to point you down. Okay, so would this be big enough? Since I have this already, if I were to put this on here, almost. Let's just get a bigger piece. Well, since I know this one's almost big enough, let's use it to cut out the piece that's big enough. So right sides, go to right side first. Let's cut our, well, I don't have to. I'm just going to put my fabric on there, and then I'm going to sew, and then I'll flip it, and then I can pull this back and trim that. There you go. Can take it to the sewing machine just like that. Okay, I've stitched on the line and just on the line, not into the seam allowance. And now I can take this, trim it up. This will come back this direction. I'll press that. This was not cut on the bias, of course, so it's gonna have a hard time making this curve. So I don't know what I could have done to prevent this puckering. Don't know. I can press it out. You know, my piece only goes over to my pattern piece to right here. So for the most part, I might be able to avoid anyone knowing about that. So let me just trim this up, make it match our pattern, and see what we get. Of course, this, body of the koi piece here is just going to look funny. It's just going to look funny because it's just nondescript, right? Like there's no way of being able to tell what this is. As we called it while we were drawing it, it looks like a worm. Okay, just a little bit of puckering inside that area. I'm just going to try not to worry about it. Of course, that includes my seam allowances. So by the time I get my seam allowance in there, maybe you can't tell that there's any point of the pattern comes to right there. So there's still enough room. It is just going to be a skinny seam allowance. Same thing going on here. Can you see through that? I can see through it and see that it's just going to be a heavy 1/8 of a seam allowance there. It's okay. It is okay. I'm kind of rusty. All right. So we got our body. I'm going to set that aside. I really want to get this, this one and this one done before Chris returns. He's gone into town for a meeting. It's a monthly meeting, and it's an evening get together kind of thing. So I know he's going to be gone for, at least 3 hours. But the thing is, I'm tired. I've had a full day, and I don't know how long I will last. So I want to make whatever effort I do. I want to make it show. And so I'm going to do this one versus this one, right? This is 5 pieces to do. This is only 3. So I feel like when I get this one done, I'll think, oh, I can do 3 more. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's do this one. So this is black. Get some black to put there. The back of it on the very first one is what goes in here. So the front is out that way. Okay, I'm going to press that on because this is freezer paper and it will stick. Okay, just like with the other one, our second piece is going to be white. Okay, I am not going to worry about trimming this away right now. I am just going to put my white on there. Just going to see if I have. I'm just making sure though that I have at least 1/4 inch of this beyond my drawn line, and I do. If I stitch it right there, does it come over and cover all of that section? It sure does. So I'm going to go stitch that. Okay, now that I have my line stitched in a curve, I feel better about coming in here and cutting my seam allowance on both pieces now. Uh-oh. I thought I had it flipped over. This is my right side. That would be my wrong side, so that's not cool. Okay, I need to lower my stitch length. There. gonna go try again. Okay, so now I can make sure I've got this trimmed up well. I'll come in. That looks much better. I'm gonna go press that, and then we'll do this, the koi head. The number 3, which would be orange. We'll discuss that. Okay, so I need to put orange in here. I've got black, white, I need orange, and then yellow. I'm gonna go with that section. Just because this is such a dusty orange. It's so muddy. I don't really care for that. Maybe I go with this area right here. If this is going to be yellow down here, here's just a little piece of that. We talked about how this area needed to be a little bit brighter than what is going to be on this part. So I might be shooting myself in the foot by using these more saturated colors. Yeah, as far as colors on this go, this area down here is lighter. You can definitely get more saturated oranges and stuff to pull from. So I can try to use this area. Everything is in reverse, so you have to think about this. I actually want to cut it this way. If I want to capture that orange, right side to this, make sure that my drawn line here is well within the area that I am going to want to capture. I want to make sure that when I flip it over, it's orange that I see over there. And I think that'll do it. Okay. And then I'm going to have enough of this to cover. Let's see. Nope. I need to turn my angle a little bit. It needs to be more like that. This part can be kind of fidgety because, especially because it's on a curved line that is changing its curve. Because the line here is going to make the fabric want to go that direction. The line here is going to make it want to go that direction. I hope I cut it big enough. I'm going to stitch it and see what I get. Okay, before I trim anything or press anything, let's just see if this covers the entire area. Does not cover everything. Doesn't cover from here over. But I think I'm okay with that. I think I'll just put another piece there. I'll just put another piece there. Okay, I'm going to get a yellow piece to put on here before I deal with this section that didn't get covered. And I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm going to cut another liberal piece. I knew my curved lines were going to give me some trouble. And they are. So if that's stitched there, that's going to give me plenty. Move it down a little bit. Okay. I think if this fish was bigger, and then I could make my curved lines more gradual, it wouldn't be a problem. I don't think I'd have the puckering that I'm getting. Okay, fold number 4 over. It's going to be fine. It's going to look really good. 5 is going to be interesting because we're going this way and then a sharp turn that way. I don't think I need to do that. I know how that's going to pucker right in the middle. So I think I need to do a 5 and a 6. So if that was supposed to be orange, I think I may do that as white. Do a white here and then another yellow over there. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So 6 is orange, and 5 as W. That's what I'm going to do. That's going to be better, just a gentle curve this way and then a gentle curve that way instead of these curves that go in 2 different directions. Much more sense. Learning. I hope that's what you guys are understanding here, is that I'm learning, but you know, it comes with taking risk with paper and needle. Not any great risk though, is it? Okay, I'm going to press this down and then get a white piece. I can go ahead and get my white cut out. Okay, here's my white fabric. Make sure I know which side is my right side. That's my right side. I'm going to put it against this. I need to go press this so it sticks. So now I just need to make sure I have enough room. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to cut that. I'm going to stitch that right there. How's this going to work? Okay, this is not going to work. I'd have an inset seam here. So what I would need to do is, if I want to make this section out of 2 different colors, I need to make the 2 pieces together and then apply it to here. Like make this as one separate piece from this entire fish head. Is that right? What am I not thinking? Tell me in the comments, what am I not thinking about? What am I messing up? I just see that it's going to buckle right here, right? When I sew something, because the fabric over here is going to want to go this direction. The fabric over here is going to want to go that direction, so it's going to have a fold in it. This is a fish, so I could let it have a fold in it, but that's not the purpose. The purpose isn't just to get this done. It's supposed to be to learn. I think I need to treat this section as a separate piece. Like my entire pattern needs to change. So what I'm doing is I'm tracing this part of the pattern so I can treat it as a completely different unit, completely as a fourth part of the fish. Okay, so now I will put a seam allowance on this all the way around. So now I need to cut this one, create a seam allowance for this, and trim this back. Do any of you guys follow Melissa Gilbert on Instagram? I think it's just the coolest thing in the world that she's getting into quilting too. Like, she represents, because of her work on The Little House on the Prairie, she represents so much of my childhood, my childhood TV watching. And she represents an era when quilts were definitely a thing. Okay. They were pretty utilitarian, but even though they were something that people used, you know, it was a utility thing, it was still people who were trying to make them pretty. There. Okay, so now I'm going to cut this out, make it, and then it should slide right in here whenever I get to it. Okay, so now I can cut. Let me press that again so it sticks to it. Now I can shape this one up to match its pattern shape. I think Melissa's Instagram account is Prairie something. I kind of feel like she may have been influenced by that show. The family values of that show and the Waltons really just, it was great TV watching whenever I was a young kid. TV really, really, really changed, didn't it? Well, I love YouTube. You can just fine tune exactly what you want to watch. You know, the people that are providing content that jives with what you like and enjoy. Hopefully, it's not always available. Gosh, that looks like a whole bunch of nothing burger. Okay, you see this right here? I'm leaving this in, but there is a fold right here. There's a fold right there. I'm going to leave it in because it's so flat, you're not going to be able to tell it. And again, my son is not a quilting judge, but I want to keep that curve. But it's because of that fold that I knew I needed to handle this differently. And I've been around the block enough, I should have seen that coming. Should have seen that coming and predicted for it, but I didn't. Okay, so white goes right here, backside goes to it, and yeah, I'm going to press this and then I get yellow to go right here. No, orange I said, because this is going to go like that, right? Hang on, can't tell. Yeah, it's going to go like that. This is going to be our white. Do I want to, this is white. Do I want to put more of this yellow over here? How would that look? Let's put the white on first and then we can decide. Not a very big area of orange. And it's going to be going up against, is this right? Like that. It's going to be going up against that. So I don't think we really want orange right there. Not thrilled that a little bit of black is in there. I mean, a little bit of green is in there. I'm going to go, I know it's interjecting a different fabric, but I'm going to go with this. Or am I? This is the head, and we wanted the head to be a little bit brighter so that we get our shadowing. But this is going to be further back away from the top of the head, so it's going to be okay. It can make it look like it's tapering the other direction. All right, I'm happy enough with that. Okay, right sides to right sides. When that flips over, it's going to want to go that way, which will miss it all together, right? So I've got to have it that, so that whenever I have that flipped over, yes, that's how you know it will cover it. If the whole pattern is covering, if there's fabric that you can see all the way around your pattern piece, when you flip it back against that stitched, that's drawn line, then you know it's going to work out. So I'm going to carry that over, stitch it. Okay, that's going to be a good looking piece, I think. Okay. Press that one together. I think what I'll have to do with my eyeballs is applique them down. Okay. So this will go like that. Looks like a whole lot of nothing right there, doesn't it? Okay, so I need to put a piece on here. I'm going to do white. Just a little bit of white is all we need. White, white, white. And I'll probably just do it in a bit of a curve, just a real gradual low angle curve. Like that. Well, probably not. Yeah, like that. That's good. That's going to take away some of that green. Maybe I make it even more pronounced so I can get all of that green out of there. Like make it like that. Could do anything I want. Like I could make this, like do this number. That's too curvy. Hang on, bear with me. Told you guys that's the end of the day and I'm already body tired and brain tired. Okay. Do I need to try to cover up anything over here on this side? No, it's fine. But it's going to have to go all the way over. That's fine. I'm not going to overthink this any more than I absolutely have to. I put that like that. And I fold my pattern back. Is it going to completely cover? It will. This is good. I'm going to go sew that. I'm going to sew on that little line right there, which is going to take, so when I come back and I cut my seam allowance, it's going to take away some of this, which is fine. Okay, that's as far back as I need to take that. Okay, now, I don't want to use those little bitty scissors for that. Let's use these. All right, that should be good. Now I'm going to come and press that, and then I can shape up this section of the fish head. Oh, there's a part of me that is wondering if we might actually be able to push through and get this fish head, this fish body and everything done. No, I was getting optimistic, but then I started thinking I still have to make the fins and I don't want to rush this necessarily. I haven't even told him that I'm making this for him. He just doesn't care about gifts. He just doesn't care. I mean, he will appreciate it and be glad that I did something, but like he's not sitting around thinking, Mom didn't give me anything. I promise you he's not. So that goes like that. Yeah, like that. That's going to be interesting to sew together. Let's see what happens if I sew. Let's see what happens. I'm going to sew from there down, and then I'm going to turn it around and go from there that way. And I'm leaving the paper on. I don't care if I have to pick it away with tweezers later. Okay, so leaving the paper on was a stupid idea, just so you guys know, because you have to be able to move your top and bottom pieces of fabric when you're doing a curve, and that was just not going to happen with the paper on there, right? Just made it too stiff. And of course, I used a super small thread length, stitch length, and don't want to tear up my paper. There we go. It's one of the benefits of a small stitch length is it does rip nicely. Okie dokie, let's try this again, Dawn. So, I'm going to take the paper off because we have our shape. Paper is off. Get a good grip on this one somewhere. This is the price you pay when you try to do things that you don't know how to do. And then you try to do them a little bit differently. Sometimes you have to backtrack. And I'm not really backtracking, right? Like sometimes you have to slow down a little bit, rethink. Okay, that is off. And is it like that? Ignore that stitch line right there because that's not how that was supposed to go. Let's look at this and see how this was supposed to be. It's supposed to be like that. So the orange is supposed to be like that. Stitch like that. And then stitch this way with this curving. Okay. Longer needles are going to be easier to get
away from the fabric as I'm stitching on the machine. I need to reach for them instead of the little ones. Kind of want to do this with a longer stitch length just in case I got to take it out again, and then I can come back and re-stitch it if it looks good. See what I get. Okay, so that didn't turn out so bad. Did not turn out so bad. This, like this, this is like this. Our pattern piece is pretty much fine. Or is it? I feel like it shrunk. It did. It shrunk a lot. Okay. It's fine. Right. This goes like this. It'll go like that. Yes. Because it's opposite, 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 opposite. Everything is in reverse. Forgot it was going to be that way. Oh gosh, I really am tired. I probably shouldn't be doing any of this. Afraid I'm going to make mistakes. But if I don't do it now, I don't know when I can be on camera again with you guys, because Chris will be home all day tomorrow. If the mud's cleared up and, if it's dry enough, he can work outside. But I've got 2 obligations tomorrow. Surely I can get this one done and then get these pieces attached and then start working on my fins. And then we might call it quits on this video. I don't know. We'll have to see. Okay, so these, we wanted to, remember the top of remember we want shading. We want it to taper in this way and from the top of the head down to the snout. This is supposed to be orange. So we will use, don't really want to cut into the middle of the fabric, but that orange right there would be nice. I'm going to fussy cut that out. It's not really too fussy of a cutting. I'm going to just make sure I get a good square with that in it. This is the first piece to go onto the pattern, so I don't have to worry about flipping it or any of that. I just put it where it belongs. So I don't have to worry about it being too overly sized. That will be nice. Okay, I'm going to press that on. So I was thinking, if Chris's work on the pond continues past another 6 weeks, I may just move my studio upstairs into the bonus room so that we're not limited by his schedule, because it's kind of frustrating to not be able to be on camera when I have time to be on camera. But he's getting really close. Okay, I'm looking at this piece of my white is going to be plenty big enough for this. But right sides to right sides. It's going to be a curve. I'm going to get some puckering on this one because it's got a pretty deep curve there. Maybe I don't make it so deep. Maybe I relax that curve a little bit so it's more like that. More gentle curve. Yeah, I like that better. I don't really want to have my studio upstairs. I love being in here. And he does plan on going home. But he's got to finish his project, right? Okay, I'm going to press this over. I can't get the curve I want right there. Not without puckering, because it's curved too tightly back that direction. It's just going to be straight and not a curve. And we're going to have to be okay with that. I'm going to be okay with that. So now I need, my design wants me to have curve like this, which we already know creates a problem, even if it's on a longer stretch, and this is in a tight area, so the curves are tighter. So we're not going to do that. So we're going to have straight lines there. So it's going to go like that. Going to have a slight little curve like that, probably. I'll do that. Did like my curves. They were nice. You can do the curve thing on a longer stretch, a more gentle curve. But when you got 2 curves and one bit of stitching, that's a no-go. That's a no-go, and I should have seen that coming. Some of you are probably screaming at the TV or your phone or whatever you're watching me on. All right, but this is where I get to step up to the plate and do what I tell you that I am being vulnerable. Yeah, let's just do that and see what happens. Okay, one very gentle slope done.
Okay, let's just do this really quickly here. Something along those lines. It's looking a little bit like a fish, isn't it?
So if I come in here and I stitch like along here, what is that going to do for me? I do think I need to call it quits for the night because I am tired and I'm going to do a better job thinking about everything if I think about it fresh in the morning.
So I took my mic off already, so sound may be a little bit different. I was just going to quit because I was tired I've had a long day already. But I decided, no, I need to end on a positive note. So before I quit, I pieced the snout with the head. I'm going to stitch this area and then see what it looks like. And that will tell me either that I did it right or it would tell me what my next step is tomorrow. So it did tell me what my next step is, and my next step was to take it apart because my curve was fine, but I didn't start the top edge in the right place. So it didn't work. I'm clearly too tired to be working tonight, but I keep on doing stuff. I'm going to start just a little bit higher, pin it. Yeah, that should do it. Yeah, that'll do it. That should do it. Let me go stitch that real quick. Look, this was our 3 pattern pieces put together. You take them up, and there it is. You just can't tell yet, but it will be a koi fish. Okay, and so this is supposed to just be attached like that. Is that right? I think so. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do one last thing. Sew this together. Take the paper off this one and sew this together because that's a simple little arc that I can do on the sewing machine. And then I will feel better coming in here tomorrow after I've had a good night's sleep and worry about getting this on the background and getting the wings in and the eyeballs and the mouth and the little whiskers. It'll be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good. I'm gonna go see my grandbaby tomorrow and give her her sleep sack. So I won't be able to work on this immediately tomorrow. And then I have a little project to do with one of my neighbors. We have a shared bush between our properties that we're going to take down because there's an armadillo living in it. And it charged me and the dogs the other day. And I don't want to be charged by an armadillo while I'm just out for a walk. It's supposed to have a nice little lazy arc right there, right? See how this attaches? It starts to taper down, but there was supposed to be, I kind of feel like that's how that's supposed to go. I like my other way. I don't like this stitching in through the paper. I don't like that whole bit. I feel like I just destroyed my whole stitching line. I'm going to go restitch that real quick with a smaller stitch. Now to get this lined up, Okay, let's see what I can do to this. I'm gonna go stitch it. Okay, you have to still use your imagination. It needs to be cleaned up a little bit. This edge is supposed to go, fluid with this edge over here. So I didn't have it on there correctly, but I'm not going to correct it. Same thing here. You just have to use your imagination. You got to keep in mind that this is just seam allowance here. I think what I'll do is I'll applique it down onto, I think this was the one I liked. No, it's not. Hang on. I think this was the one. If I applique it down to that, so you turn over or turn under all these edges, right? Nice, and get some nice smooth lines. Let me just mock that up for you really quickly. I promise you guys I'll be perky and energetic next time we're on camera together. Yep. See how much nicer that'll look? Okay, and I clean it up all the way around, put it on here, put my eyeballs on, put my mouth on, put my whiskers on, and of course put this on. This has got to be sewn to another piece back here because it's got to be this big. This is the size that we're going to do. Actually, it's almost the size. It's almost the right size. Interesting. Okay, so I need to move this down so I have room for my wings. I might just leave it this size and not piece it. Yeah, let me put that underneath it. Yeah, so I have a big, what did we call this? This is the pectoral fin. I just don't have a lot of room for my other fin right here. So I might need to slide this down a little bit. But I want to have enough room for the entirety of the fin that goes this direction. Space. Okay, so I could do this. Kind of straighten it out. I'm going to feel much better coming in here tomorrow and seeing this beginning to take shape versus where I almost left it. Sometimes we just get tired and it's not the time when we're doing our best work. Creativity is not flowing as well. That's all I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to leave you there. I know it was kind of frustrating getting to this point, but I hope you can see the vision. All my expectations for my pattern didn't work out exactly the way I wanted them to. But you know what? It's going to be fine. I learned some things along the way. And it's not just about optimism. I did learn some things. Foundation paper piecing really isn't meant to have curves. If you're going to do a curve, it needs to be a really gradual curve. And whenever you're creating your patterns, you got to really look out for whether or not you're creating any inset seams. And if you are, you got to separate that section out. So make it its own patterns that you piece together. I'm okay. I'm learning. And it's okay that I'm tired too. And it's okay that you guys see that I'm tired and I've made mistakes because I'm tired. You know what? That's life. I am going to finish this peacefully because the dogs are quiet, the house is quiet. I'm going to finish pinning this together and go to bed. We'll see you in the next video. In that video, we should be wrapping everything up. We'll definitely be doing the wings, the fins. See you soon. Keep moving that needle and being creative. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.